8 goals, 4 assists, a hat-trick, an all-time record broken, a nation dragged to the final on the back of a 39-year-old. By every number that matters, Lionel Messi had the best individual World Cup of 2026. And he still went home with a runners-up medal. This is the story of how the most dominant one-man tournament in years ended in a 1-0 defeat. And why, in football, being the best player on the planet almost never means lifting the trophy. No team has won back-to-back World Cups since Brazil in 1958 and 1962. That is 64 years. Only 2 nations have ever done it: Brazil and Italy, not the great Germany sides, not Spain's golden generation, not France. And recently, defending the trophy hasn't just been hard, it's been a graveyard. Look at the 4 World Cups before 2022. France, the champions, went out in the group stage in 2002 without scoring a single goal. Italy, champions, group stage in 2010. Spain, champions, group stage in 2014. Germany, champions, group stage in 2018. 4 holders in a row, home before the knockouts even began. People started calling it the Champions Curse. It became so reliable that federations feared it. So when Argentina arrived in the summer of 2026 as the defending champions, ranked number 1 in the world, the history books were not on their side. They were the target the curse had been hunting for 4 straight tournaments. And for 6 weeks, Argentina did something no holder had managed in a generation. They didn't just survive, they marched. But here is the detail that explains everything that came later. They didn't win comfortably, they won on the edge of a knife. This is where Messi's numbers stop being impressive and start being absurd. He opened the tournament with a hat-trick against Algeria. Against Austria, he scored twice. The second goal was his 17th career World Cup goal, which pushed him past Miroslav Klose to become the all-time leading scorer in World Cup history, a record that had stood since 2014, broken by a man most people assumed was past his best. His goal against Jordan made him the first player to score in 7 straight World Cup matches, a streak that stretched back to 2022. He would extend it to 9 before it finally ended. Then came the knockouts, and the pattern that should have been a warning. Down 2-0 to Egypt deep in the second half, Argentina looked finished. Messi produced an assist, then an equalizer, then a winner arrived in stoppage time. 3-2, survived. In the semi-final against England, Argentina were losing with 10 minutes left. Messi laid on both goals in a 2-1 comeback. He finished that match with more successful dribbles than any player managed in a single game all tournament. Argentina became the first team in World Cup history to win multiple matches on second-half stoppage-time goals in the same tournament. Read that again. They kept winning in the final seconds, over and over. Now, you can tell this story 2 ways. One way, destiny, Messi magic, a team that refuses to die. The other way, the way the numbers tell it, a team living permanently on borrowed time, a side being out-created, out-chanced, and rescued again and again by one man's brilliance and a few kind minutes. That is not a machine, that is a tightrope. And Messi's final tally going into the last game was staggering: 8 goals and 4 assists, more direct goal involvements than anyone else at the tournament. He had done everything a 39-year-old could possibly do. He had almost single-handedly dragged the curse to the one place no defending champion had reached since 1998, the final. One more game, 90 minutes from immortality. And then he ran into the one thing his brilliance could not fix. July 19th, MetLife Stadium, New Jersey. Argentina versus Spain, the reigning World Cup champions against the reigning European champions for the first time ever in a final. And for 90 minutes, Argentina were barely in it. Here is the number that defines the match. Spain had 20 shots. Argentina had 3, 20-3 in a World Cup final. Spain didn't just edge it, they laid siege. The man keeping Argentina alive wasn't Messi. It was their goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez, who made 12 saves. That is the most saves any goalkeeper has ever made in a World Cup final. His reward for the greatest defensive performance the fixture has ever seen was a losing medal. Then, right at the end of normal time, the tightrope snapped. Enzo Fernandez was shown a second yellow card and sent off. Argentina would play the entirety of extra time a man down. Spain, already dominant, now had a spare man and 30 minutes to break a tired 10-man team. It took them until the 106th minute. Ferran Torres, a substitute who had come on after the hour, struck the only goal of the game. 1-0, Spain's second World Cup, their first since 2010, decided by a player who started the match on the bench. And Messi, the tournament's most decisive player, finished the final almost silent, contained, crowded out, unable to conjure the one moment he had produced in every round before. He collected the silver ball as the tournament's second-best player, not the trophy, the consolation. So why couldn't Messi win it twice? The easy answer is the red card or the 20 shots or one bad night. But those are symptoms. The real answer is structural. And it's the reason the champion's curse exists at all. Club football lets a great team reload. You win, you take the profits, you buy the next generation. International football bans the one thing every dynasty needs: you cannot recruit. You get the players your country produces, and 4 years later, they are simply 4 years older. Argentina defended the World Cup with essentially the same spine that won it, a spine built around a genius who was now 39. Spain attacked it with an engine of teenagers and players in their early 20s, legs that could run for 120 minutes and still press. That is the tax on greatness. You win with a golden generation, and by the time you defend it, the generation has aged and you're not allowed to replace it. It caught France, Italy, Spain, and Germany. It nearly caught Argentina too. Messi delayed it for 6 magnificent weeks. He could not delay it for one more night. 8 goals, 4 assists, a record that will stand for years, and no trophy. Because in football, the numbers that win you a tournament are never the numbers on one man's stat sheet. They're the ones underneath: shots, legs, and time. And time is the one opponent even Messi never beat. Spain didn't win that final by accident. They won it with an 18-year-old who spent the whole tournament doing to defenders what nobody thought was possible. If Messi's story was the sun setting, this was the sunrise. That's the next one.